Filming is already underway for The Penguin, the spin-off from The Batman. And that's what we're going to be talking about in this episode of Legends of Podcasting. Now, joining me on the Wave Rider as we fly through the time stream, we have
Stuart,
Rob,
and I'm Liam. All right, guys. So let's talk about Penguin. There's a bunch of casting news that we've had, and recently Theo Rossi has joined the cast of HBO's The Penguin. He's known for his roles in Marvel's Luke Cage and Sons of Anarchy. And the Batman spin-off series stars Colin Farrell as Oswald Cobblepot, aka the Penguin. And Rossi is set to play a key recurring role. Now, the 8-episode drama will continue Penguin's rise as one of Gotham's most notorious criminals. And the series events will pick up immediately after the end of The Batman. HBO Max's Sarah Aubrey has said that the show will be about Gotham at the street level, showing what Oz's life is like as a hustler and strategist with his own ambitions. And the series also stars Kristen Milioti as Sophia Falcone, Clancy Brown as Salvatore Maroni, and Renzi Feliz in a role that we don't know much about yet. It's going to be exciting to see what kind of twists and turns the show has in store for us, especially with Matt Reeves, the mastermind behind The Batman, serving as an executive producer alongside Dylan Clark, Farrell, Craig Zobel, and Lauren LaFranc, who is also the showrunner. Now, Farrell himself has described the role as juicy, saying he felt greedy to want to keep portraying the Penguin. So with Rossi's talent and range, it'll be interesting to see what he'll be playing in the series. So what do you think he'll portray? Let's start with you, Rob.
This is going to be a grounded level story about gangsters, and presumably this is not all of Penguin's crew, but the gap for spoilers for a year-old film now. If you haven't seen The Batman, why not? I'm going to spoil it for you. The film obviously ends with.
They shouldn't be fans of us if they haven't watched the Batman.
Exactly. So the film obviously ends with Maroni. It was a Maroni, wasn't it, that got killed? Falcone, sorry, leaving a massive hole in the crime syndicate, and it kind of implies that Cobblepot, who's been the underdog, the lieutenant, is looking to rise up through the ranks. And it sounds like in this they're not just going to let him become the crime kingpin. He's got to work his way through the rest of the lieutenants as well. So if I put money on anything, he's either going to be a rival crime boss or some other one of Falcone's underlings that's got aspirations of power. So.
I would say Falcone's got a big family, right?
Yeah.
Because there was the sisters in it. The actress who's playing the sisters already in it, right? So I'm pretty sure in the Long Halloween there was that whole table that was basically family.
Yep.
So there were big brothers. Who was the one in the Long Halloween who was the sort of nerdy guy who we thought? I think in the comic he is.
It's kind of implied in the comic he is the holiday killer, but in the film they make him definitely not. So,
yeah, he gets killed off, doesn't he?
That's
Maybe
Alberto.
it's him.
Yeah, Alberti.
Yeah, I definitely see. I mean, I'm excited for it. Like one of the highlights of that film, which I was not expecting, was Colin Farrell as the Penguin. I'm not gonna lie. I was like, oh yeah, that's pretty cool. I mean, when it was first cast, I thought he was going to be Alfred and Andy Serkis was going to be the Penguin. That's how I saw it, because like Andy Serkis does that kind of role quite well. But actually, I was pleasantly surprised how well he played that character. And if it's happening right under, worries me if it's happening right after the movie and it's at street level, because most of that's underwater. So I don't know how that's going to happen.
Yeah, I forgot they blew up the retaining wall, didn't they, at the end of the film?
It's all on boats. Like, I'm going to take you down.
Yeah. Well, he is a penguin, so he's going to be swimming through the water like a graceful bird to catch all the crime.
Penguins with rockets on their back, like flying through the. But no, I'm excited. As you say, I think it's obvious that like they made it very obvious in that movie that Falcone owned the city. He owned the mayor, he owned the police, he owned everything. So now he's gone. There's a big gap to fill, and everyone's going to want that to take that role. Whereas his sister, Penguin, Maroni, obviously played by Clancy Brown, who we all know is an amazing actor. He's in so many comic book things. But he's doing another one. He must be a fan. I've never seen an interview or anything with him.
Let's not forget his most villainous role of the Kurgan in Highlander.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no, one of the best. But yeah, he was obviously the voice of Lex Luthor in the animated series. He was in The Flash as that sort of sergeant or colonel guy. There's definitely others he's been in as well. I can't remember, but he is obviously he must be a superhero fan. The fact that he's doing another superhero role, a superhero theme character. So yeah, you're going to have a big. And I remember the Gotham series. There was always that struggle between Maroni and Falcone, and obviously Penguin was like the lieutenant underneath. Oh god, what was her name? The one who was Will Smith's wife. That character. He was like the underdog, and he became. He rose.
Yeah, Fish, wasn't it? Fish Mooney.
Yeah,
Gotham?
Fish. Yeah. So, yeah, I'm excited for it. 8 episodes to see. I'm kind of hoping it sort of pans over those 8 episodes how they fix the city and get rid of the water. So when we get to the Batman 2, that's been resolved. I'll be curious to see if there's any other characters like from Arkham that come out, or maybe characters that aren't.
Well, this is
similar to Gotham, right?
I'm kind of thinking that this is gonna help set up a more what we know as Gotham City, full of its rogues, rather than the grounded crime level thing. Because every time you do a Batman origin story, it tends to start off with there's criminal elements, we take them out, escalation, the Joker shows up or Penguin turns up. And I mean, the most obvious one we've had recently was Long Halloween, the animated version of the comic book. So if they're going to try and follow something, that's almost a template you could use for how to grow the criminal element in Gotham, with the rogues becoming steadily more of a presence over the established crime families. I mean, we've already had the masked killer with Riddler in the film. So whether you go down that route again with Holiday being a thing in this series, or just try and establish that it's grounded characters going off the edge, I don't know.
Yeah, no, it'd be interesting. I definitely, I don't know if they do it in the show, but I could definitely like to see it maybe in the next movie of having characters that are before they become the superheroes. So like you could have like Crane, Professor Crane, like Scarecrow, or like Edward, kind of similar to what
like Gotham did.
Yeah, 100% like Gotham, exactly. Would be really
so basically,
cool.
you want them to just copy Gotham?
No, not page for page. But, it'd be cool to see, because obviously Cobblepot isn't the Penguin yet. He's just Cobblepot. So I don't know if we're going to get an Iceberg Lounge by the end of the season, but that would be quite cool. To have his I don't know if it's going to be Falcone's club gets turned into the Iceberg Lounge, or it's going to be somewhere else that he takes up. But yeah, I'm very curious. And I say, with Matt Reeves on it and the writing, if it's going to be the same level as that movie, I'm really excited to see what they do and get to see more of Gotham. Because I guess the film, you don't really get to see. You get to see the club, Selina's apartment, sort of Wayne Tower, and that's pretty much it. That you don't get to see like all the streets and too much, other than him just walking through it a little bit.
Now I know I talk quite a bit if people.
Hang
on. That's going to say, people who've been fans of the show for a while will know that I like the comic book series, Streets of Gotham, which is basically the GCPD ground up one, which I think they were aiming for with this. Maybe it's not King Hatsel, maybe it's not the show that's coming out. But I always liked the way they portray the cops in that as normal beat cops who have to deal with a whacked out city and occasionally this masked guy who breaks into their building to get evidence and maybe occasionally help them. So I kind of want to see. I know you said that Robert Pattinson's going to be on set as the Batman, maybe even.
Yeah, I read that in an article, but I don't know if that's a fact or not. But that'd be cool.
You could maybe even have him in as Bruce Wayne as well, if he's going to be more of an active player, because that was one of the themes of the Batman film. I kind of want to see. We had the entire film being him, like writing in his journal, going through the streets, down like on a personal level with him. Let's see that from the villain's side, like that opening scene of the film where they're all running around scared because they never know what side of the alleyway to look down, and Batman just walk out, and it's like,
yeah. No.
So it's so this show is going to be, it's the first spin-off that we're getting from the Batman, and this is going to give us that ground level kind of feel. Now, there was originally talk a while ago about there being a whole kind of Bat family, kind of like its own little universe of Batman properties, different movies, TV shows, and whatnot. What would you guys like to see as the next spin-off, let's say, series from the Batman?
So I kind of feel like it'd be hard to do a Bat Family series when he's only 2 years into his career and there is no Robin, or there's no Dick Grayson, there's no Tim Drake, there's no Jason Todd. So, and I kind of feel like the DCU, the way James Gunn's talking about having the Brave and the Bold, and it's going to be Damian Wayne as Robin, that would be a better fit to have a Bat family in it, rather than doing it from the Batman. Especially there's not going to be any sort of time jumper, and this literally happens straight after the movie. So yeah, I think it focuses more on, say, the criminal underworld, and maybe I know there's rumors of that GCPD show as well. Would be quite cool. Again, they have to make sure they don't copy Gotham too much, because that was a really great show. But if they just replay that as a new show, it was gonna be like, well, kind of already seen this.
Yeah, you're just going to compare the two, and you know, Gotham was solid. It was a good show. So yeah,
it'd be interesting. I do think, like, if Robert Pattinson shows up, I'm sure it'd just be a cameo or something. But obviously they did meet in the film, so they do know. So Cobblepot does know who he is. So maybe even he tries to go to Bruce Wayne and be like, "Look, your dad helped Falcone. I need your help," kind of thing. Thinking maybe he's a bit of a dodgy, because all that slander from Riddler came out about the Waynes being corrupt and everything. So maybe he feels that Bruce Wayne's corrupt as well. Maybe he goes there for help, and Bruce is like, no, that would be a big fat no from me. Thanks very much. But yeah, no, I mean, there's so many gangsters and criminal. I'm trying to think who the one is from Mask of the Phantasm. You have that gang of gangsters in that the Joker works for before he's the Joker. That wasn't Maroni or Falcone. That was someone else. But that, like, you could bring him in as well. What was his name? I can't remember. I have to Google it. But yeah, there's another gang. There's loads of sort of gangster and sort of groups out there, so they could have a whole gang war.
so this show is about, obviously, the Penguin and his kind of rise, which is also one of the story arcs that plays out through Gotham. And as part of the story arc for Penguin that was shown in Gotham, has him working for Fish Mooney. What do you guys think about whether or not Fish Mooney should be in the Penguin show? Start with you, Rob.
No. If you're going to make this about the Penguin, he should be the principal character. There's been too many recent TV shows. I'm thinking, as we're recording this, we've just watched the first few episodes of The Mandalorian, and he's barely starred in that, and that's his own show, where the principal character is not the focus of the show. So I think if you're going to do a Penguin series, you could have Fish Mooney in it, but she needs to be downplayed. It's Penguin's story. Let's have him come to the forefront. Let's have Colin Farrell be the Penguin and see everything from his point of view. I think.
Yeah, I mean, she could be a rival competitor for to become the king of Gotham kind of thing. But yeah, in Gotham it was like Falcone, her, then Penguin. So I don't feel like he was the right hand man to Falcone. So you don't really need Fish Mooney to be between that. So I don't even know, is Fish Mooney even in the comics, or would they just make that up for Gotham? Because I've never heard of her before.
I'm pretty sure she was made up for Gotham, but I also believe she is in. I'm pretty sure I've seen her in the comics now. As a result, like, so she's one of those characters that crossed over, but she's not prominent in the comics.
No. You also run the risk of, like, that comparison being to Gotham again. Oh, it's Fish Mooney. Oh, we're just doing Gotham again. Let's try and do something new. Let's push it in a new direction.
Yeah, I say I like him to. I kind of half want the show to be like, well, him being arrogant and being like, well, I was Falcone's right hand man, so I should be the next big. And there's other people coming along and be like, no, I should be the next big boss because I'm his sister. You know, I'm his brother. You know, I'm Maroni, who he put in prison, who was the big boss. So he's obviously coming back. And there's this big sort of gang war again, and then obviously say you don't want Batman, you don't want Batman to show up too much. So I kind of some of me doesn't want Patterson to show up, because otherwise that will sort of, you just be watching every episode being like, well, is this the one that Patterson showed up? Similar to like when we watched She-Hulk, and it was like, when's Daredevil going to show up? When's Daredevil going to show up? So I feel like
that was one of the things that Gotham suffered with. That show was never meant to be about Bruce Wayne. It was meant to be about Jim Gordon. It was meant to be his story. And then people started moaning that they weren't seeing enough of Bruce Wayne in the show. So that was why he ended up starting to appear more in it. But yeah, but that show, that it still ended up staying good. But I agree with you with Penguin. Like, the focus really needs to stay on Penguin. He's the star of the show. He's the story. He needs to stay as the focus. I agree.
We all agree for once. It's crazy.
Yeah.
recorded so we can remember it for next time.
Yeah, when the show comes out and we inevitably fall out, it's just like
That's gonna be awesome. I'm just looking forward to. I mean, I'm assuming they can use potentially. I don't know if they can't reuse the sets because obviously the sets will be taken down, but getting the same sort of atmosphere, because one of the best thing about the Batman movie was just the atmosphere of Gotham and how downtrodden and like gloomy it was. So they can bring that into the show and just have that cinematography look. It's going to be so like we've been watching things recently like The Last of Us, which is just so beautiful to watch. Like the cinematography is that amazing. You get that same level on that show. It's going to be just like an 8-hour movie. Like, I'm guessing every episode is going to be an hour. So it's going to be like an 8-hour movie of the Penguin. Very excited. As long as Condiment King shows up somewhere in there.
No,
there's a
no.
That would be fantastic if they did have him just appear in there.
That'll be a recurring.
Try and do a serious take on Condiment King.
No. It's just a bloke in a flak jacket who's running around with 2 bottles and just squirting people in the face.
Do you need ketchup?
But the character is literally is a comedian that's been brainwashed by the Joker to be a stupid superhero. It's like, but now he's like his own thing. Cracks me up. So good. So good.
Well, if you're going to do that, why not bring Calendar Man into it and everything else from the 60s?
Cosplays in one day. Cosplay is Condiment King one day at Comic Con. It's going to be great.
All right. Well, that's it for this episode of Legends of Podcasting. So let us know what you guys think about the upcoming The Penguin series. Are you excited by these different casting news that we get coming out? Are you excited for the show? Did you like the Batman movie? Or did you think the Batman movie was kind of, me personally, I wasn't as impressed with the Batman movie as I wanted to be, but these other guys here, they're easier to impress. We
just have critical standards, Liam.
Yeah, I've learned over the many superheroes you watch, you don't go and expecting a masterpiece every time. But that was close to one.
PVS.
Fuck you.
Anyway, thanks for listening to this episode. Remember to click that subscribe button. Tell your friends, tell your family, and wherever you found this episode, please leave a review, so other people can find this. More people can find this episode like you, and enjoy and subscribe, and more people get to spread the word of Legends of Podcasting. So that's all from me.
That's it from me.
That's it from me.